Hello everyone, Dan Lucas from Credo here, and thanks for joining me on this video. I'm actually taping this video from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm here at the annual AICPA Tax Strategy and Tax Planning Conference for high-income individuals. So I'm learning a lot and having some fun. Definitely hot out, grabbing some sun. Air conditioning feels good though, I have to admit. But I had a little bit of a break from classes, so I wanted to fulfill my promise and do 50 states in 50 days and talk about the state of Alabama. Alabama was admitted to the Union on December 14th, 1819. So we are moving toward the Civil War era kind of rapidly here. But again, we are still on good pace to keep adding states here and growing rapidly. So in the state of Alabama, there are several different sources of revenue that they levy on businesses. One is the Alabama Business Privilege Tax, which is on the net worth of the business, the net worth book value of the business. There's a sales and use tax. A use tax is where they make sure that they're collecting revenue on commerce done in and out of the state, but people are benefiting from the state of Alabama, either on the import side or the export side. They have abatements and things and exemptions for that you might qualify for. And so they kind of list all that on their website. It's interesting. Let's see. They have a lot of exemptions for enterprise zones. So we've talked about enterprise zones, opportunity zones before. They're geographic areas where they're trying to give people a hand up. Typically, they are not areas of high income or massive wealth, and so a lot of times they carve these out because that's not what they intended, was to overly tax necessarily people that are struggling, and they're trying to just give them a hand up and get that economic area up and increase prosperity. Let's see, and they've got a lot of exemptions and stuff in different industries. I'm sure a lot of these industries are very particular to the state of Alabama and help the state of Alabama and the local economy. A lot of blue collar type work. They do levy property taxes, and they actually have a different kind of class system of assessing that property tax. So they are very particular about making sure they're not overtaxing people that are doing farming and things like that, and not punishing them for having a lot of land, so to speak. Let's see. You have got, there's some stuff for pollution control. You can get some different exemptions on. You wouldn't have to pay like ad valorem tax on. Let's see. There are things for data centers, data processing centers, and we've talked about that. Another one, so that's not atypical. There's also a corporate income tax. So Alabama has a net worth tax, which is basically what's the net worth of your business on the books, on your tax returns. There's a small tax on that just for doing business. And then you pay a tax on the income tax or the profit of the business. And so they have a double tax. Now that's going to be a bigger tax than the net worth tax, but they're going to get you one way or the other. But the good news is that they have a lot of tax credits, so you could offset this. So let's go through the tax credits. So the first one is the investment credit. It's called the investment credit. And it's a tax credit of up to 1.5% of qualified capital investment for a qualified project for up to 10 years. So you have to get these approved in advance from the state of Alabama. But it looks like if you're investing in the business, it has a 5-year, you can get this. It has a 5-year carry forward. It is at the discretion of the state, but a lot of times, as long as it's on the up and up, it's not too arduous to get these, and it's not huge amounts. And typically, there's no reason to reject any of these or not give these out because they're serving the purpose that they were intended for. You can contact the Department of Commerce in Alabama for further details on that. But that's a pretty nice credit. And a lot of times people just invest in their business and they're doing things and buying things, and they don't realize that the state has given you incentives, and they'll rebate part of that and they'll subsidize it for you. So a lot of this is just found money. They don't even know it's there. Okay, they've got a port credit, which is income tax credit provided for businesses that utilize Alabama's port facilities. So again, this one has to be approved in advance by the Alabama Department of Commerce, and it can be carried forward for 5 years. So you can't just read what qualifies for this and do it and get a credit. You have to have it approved in advance. Okay. So sometimes you may decide not even to do it if it doesn't get approved, but these have to be approved in advance. I see that mistake a lot, where you read it and you go, well, I'm due this credit, and they say, well, you didn't get it approved in advance. You have to have this pre-approved. It's almost like sometimes when you have to call your health insurance company to get an expense pre-approved or a surgery pre-approved or something like that. All right, they have an apprenticeship credit, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I love these. I just think apprenticeship is just a lost art, and we kind of let it go by the wayside. I don't know why, and I wish it would come back, because I think it's really good for young people to apprentice. The tax credit in Alabama gives you up to $1,250, and it is available to employers who employ a qualified apprentice for at least 7 full months of the taxable year. Okay, so they can be in school, obviously. Companies that employ a qualifying apprentice under the age of 18 may qualify for an additional $500 credit. Wow, so if they're younger, you get even more money. And you can qualify for up to 10 apprentices annually. That is not typical. I don't typically see that. So that means you can get up to $12,500 per year. Wow. Credit's non-refundable, non-transferable, and cannot be carried forward. So what that means is you can only get it for the year where you've had the apprentice, or you qualify for the tax credit. And if you happen to owe more tax, then the tax credit offsets. You can't carry it forward to the next year. So it's a use it or lose it type thing. And you can't transfer it to anybody else or anything. So basically, you have $1,250 per person. It's $1,750 if they're under 18, and then you just use it or lose it. So it's something you got to keep in mind. Let's see, they've got some veteran credits. So if you're employing veterans, you can get, it's about $2,000 a person. That's pretty nice. Definitely a fan of hiring veterans. Typically they're, I just have a soft spot for them. So, if you can get a tax credit for doing it, all the better. Again, they've got some enterprise zone credits, and they have various ways of applying that credit against different taxes in Alabama, whether it be against a business or personal. They have something called the Growing Alabama Credit, and that's a tax credit to corporations and individuals that make cash contributions to state and local economic development organizations. They call them EDOs. And it's for qualifying projects that stimulate economic growth. So you get an income tax credit equal to your contribution, and you can offset up to 50% of your state income tax liability. So what that means is, let's just say for round numbers, if you have a state income tax liability of $10,000, they'll let you use a $5,000 credit to offset it. They won't let you go beyond that. But heck, that's 50% is a huge amount of your state income tax. And let's see, you have to have a reservation. So again, you have to do these and set these up before you get the credit. Okay, again, I can't caution you enough on that. It's really a shame when people do this in expectation of this credit and they don't get it because they don't have it approved in advance. So make sure you do that. Let's see, they've got investment incentives and opportunity zones. This is a lot. Again, we've talked about the enterprise zones, the opportunity zones, federal. It's a federal program, so there's some double dipping here. As of the date of this video, I'm not sure if the federal program is going to go away, but I do think they're going to stay in a lot of states. I don't think they're going to go away from the states. So anyway, that's where you just got to look up the maps and say, what's an enterprise zone, what's an opportunity zone, and figure out if you qualify for one or if you might want to do something in one of those zones and get one. It might actually make that decision for you to do it. So it might push you over the edge. There's a JobvAct Incentives. So that's a discretionary credit, which means you have to apply for it in advance, and they can either award it or not. Hopefully, most of the time they do, unless you're really trying to pull a fast one. But let's see, it gives annual cash refunds up to 3% of the previous year's gross payroll for up to 10 years. Wow. And that is for companies employing at least 12% veterans. Okay. So double dip on this because you can get a veterans credit. You can get this one too. and up to another credit is available on, let's see, on the wages of the veterans as well. So you have to employ at least 12% veterans. So that's like, if you have 100 employees, 12 of them have to be veterans. And you get an additional amount off that 3% or up above that 3% of another 0.5% for wages of any veteran. So if you have 50% veterans, you get a bigger bump in credit off all of them. And I do know some businesses that are predominantly veterans. They're veteran-owned businesses, and they support hiring veterans. And somehow it's not a Title IX issue or anything, but this would definitely be something they need to be going after. There's a municipal business license abatement. I guess that's that big of a deal. But Alabama's got a lot of taxes. I mean, they're taxing you in a lot of different areas, but at the same time, it looks like the intent of these taxes is not to punish the grassroots people of Alabama, the people that make Alabama what it is and have been there for generations, and good, hardworking trade people. I don't mean to talk disparagingly about anybody, blue collar, white collar, but it's more typical blue collar jobs that they're protecting, it looks like, and giving credits for. Sure, obviously the intent is not to tax those individuals, but yeah, they got some. They have a lot of ways to qualify for just not paying tax at all or just being exempt from it. So that's a lot better than their tax credit. So if you're exempt from the tax, don't even worry about it. Tax credits are not as good as just totally being exempt from it. But yeah, that's really about it. So I would say if you're in Alabama, there are so many taxes that they're getting you on in business, and there are so many exceptions to having to pay those taxes. So I wouldn't limit necessarily the scope of what you're looking at for taxes or based on what I kind of listed out. If I was a business, I would look at, does my type of business qualify for anything? Because there's just so many things you could qualify for. And of course, if you think you qualify for anything I specifically said, then you obviously have to look at any of this. But if you have any questions about these, and you can just post them in the comments. If you have any comments, give us comments. And if you're a tax pro, or if you're a business owner or individual that's had experiences with any of these that I'm talking about, doesn't have to be that you're trying to correct me or add. Just say what your experience was. I mean, say, hey, I applied for this credit. It was real easy. It was a piece of cake. Or, hey, I do the apprenticeship credit every year, and it's awesome. So anything we can add on to help with the information, just to get it out there, because I'm trying to help people that don't know about these credits. I just think these credits are credits in every state and federal, of course. They're missed a lot. They're just not claimed, and they're out there for you. So I want to see people get them. They're entitled to get them. So, okay, I'm going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for watching this, and please like it and share it, all that stuff, so we can get it in front of people that are in Alabama. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye. I need to go to another class for my tax conference. All right, thank you.